Hello. I've always been dreaming about a microphone that's easy to connect to a DSLR or a smartphone, or basically just a camera or a phone, so kind of use it on both platforms, and then I can have a better sound on YouTube videos or other learning videos or whatever. So I stumbled on this Smartmike Plus microphone. It is basically a Bluetooth microphone, so it should be fairly easy to connect, like if you had a headset or something like that. So I thought, that is a brilliant idea. I like that idea a lot. So I bought this one as a microphone. The microphone is basically the small piece here, and then there's a mini jack port here so you can add on something. And it turned out that in the package, they also had a microphone booster. So basically to get an improved microphone sound, I need to kind of put it in here. Okay, and then the slick design is kind of not that slick anymore, but it can kind of turn. I don't know why, but well, okay, booster microphone. If it is supposed to be used on a camera, you need something that can send and receive the information. So you basically need two pieces for doing that. And well, that is okay. And it's kind of a fairly small device you can put in, and it's a nice design, except if you need the booster microphone, which is kind of awkward. Okay. But I had some issues with it, so I ended up with buying another wireless system too. It was the Røde Wireless Go, which is, there's plenty of videos of that. And it's like these boxes. The main advantage with these boxes, I'll just turn them on. And that is what lacks with the Smartmike sometimes. It is like, I have a display here, so I can see if it's actually receiving or not. And that is a big issue, I think, because do I get sound or not? So I'll just turn these ones off. One of the biggest problems with or not problems, but what is the size difference with the wireless or the Smartmike? There's a huge size difference in this one, but there's also a stability issue. But first of all, let's listen to the sound of the pieces with and without the inbuilt microphones or some lavalies, and then I have some kind of issues I want to address last in the video.
Scavenge a crash site. After a plane crash, survivors must stay alive until rescue. With a little creativity, you can find plenty of useful items. Check the cockpit radio. If it works, send out a distress call. Use the fuselage as a shelter unless fuel has spilled, in which case there's a chance of fire. Scavenge a crash site. After a plane crash, survivors must stay alive until rescue. With a little creativity, you can find plenty of useful items. Check the cockpit radio. If it works, send out a distress call. Use the fuselage as a shelter unless fuel has spilled, in which case there's a chance of fire. Scavenge a crash site. After a plane crash, survivors must stay alive until rescue. With a little creativity, you can find plenty of useful items. Check the cockpit radio. If it works, send out a distress call. Use the fuselage as a shelter unless fuel has spilled, in which case there's a chance of fire. Scavenge a crash site. After a plane crash, survivors must stay alive until rescue. With a little creativity, you can find plenty of useful items. Check the cockpit radio. If it works, send out a distress call. Use the fuselage as a shelter unless fuel has spilled, in which case there's a chance of fire. Scavenge a crash site. After a plane crash, survivors must stay alive until rescue. With a little creativity, you can find plenty of useful items. Check the cockpit radio. If it works, send out a distress call. Use the fuselage as a shelter unless fuel has spilled, in which case there's a chance of fire.
So let's talk about the issues I had with the Smartmike Plus. I love the design. I love the kind of easiness it is. However, when I turn it on, there's just a blinking dot here, and then I need to learn which color it has to light, if it's kind of receiving or sending or stuff like that. And I need an app to my phone before I can actually record the sound. And the app is super easy to use. However, I cannot trust it because I had several issues with the dropouts of the sound, and also a permanent dropout of sound and some interference squeaks that comes in suddenly.
The famous Scandinavian buns. There are countless recipes for these, but who is the judge? I think they have to be soft with a crisp shell, and there has to be cardamom in the dough.
But my issues was actually so big that suddenly if you do a 9-minute one-take video and then suddenly you discover that 3 minutes of your speech is kind of out, then you need to do a retake and a retake. So if I want to use the Smartmike Plus system, I definitely need to have at least 3 takes to ensure that the sound is actually going home, and it should be perfect takes. And that is kind of, okay. I like a more kind of convenient style, so when I shifted towards the Røde Wireless Go, it's kind of not Bluetooth, and it's super easy to use. So I prefer that, despite that they are way more chunky in size. But another thing that also bothered me with the Smartmike Plus is basically that 1/3 of the times, 1/3 of my recordings are always unsynchronized with my lips. My lips are not following the sound. So basically, when using the smart mics, I definitely need to use a clapboard or just clap my hands every single time, so I, in post-production, can adjust the sound. So that gives me a little more work, and I don't like that kind of work, so that's why I kind of migrated to another system. But the idea in the Smartmike Plus, I really love the idea. However, they don't answer their support either. So that was basically what nailed it for me. And that you need to use the app. You can't just record directly. That is kind of really cumbersome to work with. Yeah, well, that was my user take on how to use the Smartmike Plus. Easy to use, but it demands some post work before it's actually whole in one. What about the Røde thingy is kind of super easy to use, and it's just super easy to use and it works.